On the money now, the markets are waiting to see which way the presidential election will tip. The Dow Jones started strong and has been climbing through the day as votes continue to be counted. The Dow was up more than 800 points in the past hour, but market analysts say that Wall Street and global investors don't like uncertainty in the election. Domestically, they want assurances that another COVID stimulus package will be passed. And on the international side, they want to know whether trade relations will continue to be tense or might improve.
Stocks up really all across the board and have been all day. Joining us now from Bianco Research is the president, Jim Bianco. Thank you so much. Clearly a great day for the markets, even with all the uncertainty in the election here. Is it that the markets really don't care who's in the White House? It's more the balance of power? Yeah, historically, markets have always preferred divided government that prevents one party from over-regulating and over-governing, and it keeps a check on them. The big thing I think that happened last night is it appears that the Senate is going to stay Republican. So if Joe Biden wins, we have divided government because of the Senate. If Donald Trump were to still win, we still have divided government because of the House. So that's always been the preferred scenario for Wall Street. I know that there is a narrative on Wall Street in the last few weeks that a unified blue wave was a preferred scenario because they wanted fiscal stimulus. I understand that argument, but historically, that's not been what markets prefer. They like divided government.
Jim, let me ask you, too. We're talking about tight margins and undecided results that could drag on for some time. Heck, we saw it back in 2000, right? It went on for weeks. I think it was 36 days or something close to that. That being said, how do you expect the market to react in the coming days? Because that uncertainty really could create some volatility and, of course, affect the global markets as well.
If that uncertainty, I'll come back to the Senate, if it bleeds into some of these very close Senate races, because there are some, and it is still possible that some of the Senate races could go Democrat and you could shift the balance of power, coupled with a Biden victory, you would then have a unified government. That would have a big effect. Other than that, I don't think that a lot of these races will really weigh on Wall Street. I think Wall Street's going to pivot to what it's been worried about for the last several months, and that's been the rising COVID count. And that, as it is in Illinois and everywhere else, and that is going to be probably the next concern that it's going to refocus itself on.
Well, especially when we think about the rise in COVID counts impacting unemployment, and that has a major impact on the economy.
That's exactly right. What we're worried about with that COVID count rise is a rollback in the reopenings, shutting down more businesses, creating more unemployment. And if that gridlock brings about a harder path for a fiscal stimulus plan from Washington to help, like the state of Illinois with its budget hole, that only compounds the situation. That's an unfortunate side effect of a divided government, is it's harder to pass a stimulus package. And I think Wall Street understands that. But over the next 4 years, historically, divided government has been preferred than unified government.
Jim, I don't want to walk away from the COVID conversation because it's really underlying for all of us. When you look at what's going on in Europe right now, in their second wave of a lockdown, let's call it, for lack of a better term, what are you expecting to see here in the United States as it relates to the markets? You know, last go around, last spring, we were just a matter of a couple weeks behind their trends, and how you might see that affecting the market, because the market did bounce back well, actually, in the spring.
Yeah, and even last week, last week the stock market was down more than 5%. Its worst week since the dark days of March. The narrative on that decline was Europe is our future. We see how they're going into these massive case counts and relocking down their economy. And the fear was that's coming to the United States. That's still out there. But this week's big rally is only erased last week's loss. So it's not like we're really gaining new ground with the stock market. We're just seeing a lot of volatility. But yes, we are very worried that what we're seeing in Europe is our future, and nobody really wants that to be our future, and we'll just have to wait and see.
So what's the big message to people, especially those who may be unemployed, who have to dip into their 401k when you think about long-term future?
Well, if you're dipping into your 401k, I assume then you probably still own stocks and you're part of the stock market. What you got yesterday with divided government should be beneficial for your investments, and at least hold those up and continue to move them forward. yeah, you would like to see some assistance coming from the government like we had before with the extra $600 a week. That still may come as we move forward from here. It's just going to be a little bit more difficult with a divided government than it would be with a unified government under Democrats.
Okay, Jim, as always, a very big thank you. For more information, you can visit BiancoResearch.com. We'll be right back.